Like, there's so many promises, if this, then that. No, it's not. There's those other versions that say, ask and keep on asking, and it will be given to you. Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, Araujo, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Go ahead and check in. Check in if you're on here with me, and good morning to you, Felipe. Good morning. I'm trying to read between the cameras here. Shonda, Andres, Daniel, what's going on? Claudia, thank you for joining. And I have a message that I got inspired by today. I got inspired, and if you are reading your emails or going out to workplace and seeing what I'm writing down, oftentimes I reflect on my own journey. And many of you have been witness to, right? Witness to the journey of and the growth of this operation in many ways, not only personally, but professionally. You've witnessed the growth of many of our agents within the organization. And it's amazing because it's a process that's been duplicatable. And, you know, everything that I share is just based on what I've done. And again, it's just me encouraging you on a consistent basis to do the same. Because I understand what's at stake here. I understand the pressures you're facing. I understand the amount of responsibility you have that's weighing on your shoulders. And I get it. And some days are heavier than others, right? And I can't tell you how many times I've literally broken down thinking that it would never, like, the results that I wanted would never come to fruition. It's like, it's more than I care to admit. And it's not something that just stops, right? Because the more you keep going, the bigger vision you see. And the more you want to push, the more you want to create. And these are, you know, just emotions that and feelings that we have as business owners, as human beings, pushing the envelope and realizing that we're meant for more. And then when more is given to us, we're like, oh my gosh, do I really want to go down this journey? And, you know, it's happened so many times in my life that it's just, I'm used to the fact that if I want more, I know I'm going to be broken. I'm going to be broken down of the sheer pressure and the stress and the anxiety that comes along with it. It's going to push me to the core, and it's tough. And it's like, why did I even go down this path? Why did I even go down this journey? And every step that you want and everything that you're asking for, understand that it's going to break you. It's part of the process. You're going to be broken. And many of us are broken thinking that it was meant for us to stop, that it wasn't going to happen for us, that everyone else can obtain what we want, but not us, because of our story, of our experiences, the way we were raised, because we're broken and we're in that moment. And, you know, oftentimes when we break, it's because it's got to, you know, showcase to us that there's some things that we have to rebuild. The foundation is too weak. That the elements that we're broken into, that are being broken, have to be rebuilt stronger, tougher, so it can last. And this is something that's been reminded and something that's been really reflected as I work with a lot of brokerage owners across the country, right? It's not like what I teach them, they can automatically just put onto their business and grow from there. It's not that process. Oftentimes we have to backtrack. We have to break down everything that they've built, the environments, the processes, their mindset. Before we can grow, we have to rebuild. We have to break down and then rebuild. Then we start seeing the growth of what we actually learned, right? So it's a process. It's not like, okay, now I know that if I just market every day, then I'll start getting some clientele base. No, it's like you start breaking down all the other items or all the other elements of your business that are not working. And I remember, like, back in 2009, 10, you know, business was slow. The real estate market was broken. There wasn't many players in this game. The values were low. The demand was low. It was a rough time. And I remember just working and asking for, like, almost praying and begging and whatever I could do, hoping and dreaming that I could figure out a way to be able to pay the bills. And I kept knocking, right? I kept asking. And what I didn't realize is that I was just so caught up on all the things that I wanted, I failed to realize I didn't even have a foundation to be able to, to be able to deliver on what I was asking for. And just, after so much seeking and knocking and asking, an opportunity came and it flooded in. But I couldn't handle it. In fact, I burned some relationships because I just didn't have the personnel. I really didn't have the foundation to handle the volume that came my way. But yet, I was asking for all those. Everything that I asked for came into reality only to be frustrated with what I asked for. I was tired of working long hours. I was complaining about the very thing that I was asking for. And I was like, how did I end up in this place? Understand that as you keep pushing the envelope and asking and seeking and knocking, it's going to come together. But then there's a flip side of that, right? See, I knew what I wanted. I kept on just going and asking and seeking and knocking. And I got broken. And I get it. But I put myself in that position to learn. Many of you are not even in that conversation because you knock every once in a while. You seek every once in a while. You ask every once in a while. And then you get upset with the fact that you don't have the results you desire. Because you don't want to be broken. You don't want to fail somebody, right? You want to learn the entire contract. You want to make sure all your processes are in line before you move forward and knock, seek, and ask consistently. Understand that it's about taking the action and understand that you're going to be broken as you start growing. It's a growing pain. It's something that all businesses have to realize. Every business goes through that process. But if you're not in a position to even have that conversation, then you'll only have that one every once in a while. Then you'll always have the peaks and the valleys. We got to be able to be in a position where we're expecting a flood. A flood of the very thing that we're asking for. And, I'm alluding to seek, knock, ask, and all these other things. And there is a passage in the Bible, right? Matthew 7. It says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. And what I'm trying to allude to today is never stop knocking. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I'm saying never stop knocking, never stop seeking, never stop asking. And I wrote something out yesterday and I shared it with you because that's in the place I was at. That sometimes we're just caught up on the transition of a market. We're caught up knowing that we have to get better, but we're almost frozen in thought. We're frozen in the fact that nothing really happens. All we're doing is worried and anxious because we're thinking, well, if I don't do these things, then it'll never happen. And if I can't make that happen, then how am I going to pay my bills? And if I can't pay my bills, then maybe I'm going to get divorced. It starts getting crazier. Each thought gets crazier and more out of control, right? And it just started with, I just need to put a video out today. But we don't even think about that. We think about not having the escrows. We think about the results we don't have, not the action we should be taking. I didn't close that many deals this month. What's going to happen with my mortgage? What's going to happen with my car payments? I'm never going to grow. What happens if the market crashes? I don't have 12 months saved up like AZ suggested. Well, you're worried about all the results you don't have. What about the actions you're not taking? Maybe we should start there. The actions you're not taking. The knocking, right? The knocking you're not doing. The asking you're not asking. And we have to be in a position where we have to look at the action, not the results. Because if you don't have the results you desire, you're going to go down the slippery slope of like famine. And that everything's going to burn down. Everything you've created. You may have to go back to your job. These are the thoughts that go through our mind when we all have to do is just, what are we not doing? What are the things you should be doing? And this is what we have to go back to. The market's only going to get tougher. It is. It's going to squeeze those that were kindly lightly tapping and not knocking. that kind of wanted to ask, but bit their tongue. The ones that got up to go seek, but then was too afraid of the dark. And right now it's a time where you have to be very convicted of what the things that you want. The vision still has to be strong. The knock has to be the hard knock. The hard knock. The seek has to be out there with conviction. I'm going to find this opportunity no matter what. I'm going to keep knocking until my knuckles are bare and bloody, no matter what. I'm going to keep asking and dreaming and visualizing no matter what. And there's so many things outside of you that's going to want you to stop. Don't do that. Slow it down. And we got to be in a position where we just focus on the actions and not so much on the result that we wish we had or what might happen. And this is what we have to continue to remind ourselves of. That persistence is the only way. And understand that it's not, passage didn't say tap every once in a while. It didn't say only ask every once in a while. I mean, I think the different versions of the Bible, have summarized it. I mean, there's one version that says ask and it will be given to you. So you're thinking, well, if I ask, it should be given to me right away. Seek and you will find. I mean, it seems like you do this and then you'll get that. Kind of like, everything we see on social media. 5-minute abs, right? 30 days to $1 million. Like, there's so many promises, if this, then that. No, it's not. There's those other versions that say ask and keep on asking, and it will be given to you. I mean, we all want to go with the shortened version, right? The Cliff Notes, the summarized version, the synopsis, quick summary. I get it. But it's ask and keep on asking. Seek and keep on seeking. Knock and keep on knocking, and the door will be open to you. And we forget that sometimes, right? But it's not a light knock. It's the hard knocks of life. And everyone who succeeded at a high level will tell you it's a hard knock life. It's not a light tap knock life. Let me go ahead and tap it today and think about what I want tomorrow. It's like every day. And yet it's so simple, yet most of us don't do it. And all I'm telling you is like, just keep doing the doing. And all I can do is remind you because I've seen my life magnify and flourish in ways I never thought was possible. And all I did was seek, knock, ask. Ask, seek, knock, whichever way. But I did those things on a daily basis, even when I was broken. Can't tell you how many times I've been to the gym where I was just completely defeated. I can't tell you how many volleyball games I went when I was just like wondering how I was going to pay the mortgage. Can't tell you how many days I spent praying as my life was imploding. But the thing is, I just kept doing it over and over and over again. And that's the option you have today. And everything that we've done with the 12-week target book is just to get you into a rhythm, into a flow of just doing those things over and over and over again, regardless of what's happening in your life. it's one of these things where if you just keep going, regardless of the results will inevitably make themselves visible. And I can't tell you any other way than I can show you. I'm here. And I'll always be here. That's the mindset that I have. I'll continue to show up regardless if you're here or not. I'll outlast you. That's the way I see it. And that's the way you should see it. That's not just available to me. That conviction is not just available to me. It's got to be something you decide on. That when you ask, you'll keep on asking. When you seek, you'll keep on seeking. When you knock, it's not a light tap, it's a hard knock. Sometimes it's pounding, right? Of frustration. When is it going to happen? And it's still knocking through all the disappointments. Thinking you're finally getting your feet under you. Things are finally moving along. Only to feel like you're taking 5 steps back, 10 steps back. It was devastating. I could tell you a handful of times trying to grow this brokerage. It broke me to the core. And of course, you didn't see it. Carla was witness to it. My kids didn't even see it. It's not like I was hiding. It's just I was broken. But I kept on coming. I was broken when more than half of the agents left at one time. But I kept showing up. I was broken as I couldn't pay my bills, but I kept showing up. Knowing that at some point, and it was faith-based, right? At some point, something is going to come out of this. And I'd rather go into a situation, of a disappointing situation, through the dark strong than being broken and weak. Being broken doesn't mean you're weak. Being broken does not mean you're weak. Because when you continue to ask and to seek and to knock each and every day, you're not weak. You're building the capacity you need to be able to walk through that darkness. And I could only imagine if I didn't do the right things for myself, for my family, if I didn't continue to do those things that were required from me, through that dark, I would have never come back out. Because even though I was broken, I was still very strong. And you have to decide, you're all going to face your fair share of obstacles and problems. You decide if you go through it weak or strong. And doing what's required, doing the right things for yourself, for your family, for your business, regardless of the outcome, is going through it strong. Shutting down and thinking it's only you is weak. And I've been able to demonstrate this to you over and over again. I'm not saying I've arrived or I'm at the epitome of what success is. Not at all. What I'm saying is like I've learned a few things along the road. And I put my family in a very good position regardless of the market because I've showed up strong. I kept asking, I kept seeking, I kept knocking, and I continue to do that to this day. My job is just to put myself in that position to be able to do those things. I can't do that from my bed. I can't do that feeling sorry for myself. I can't do that by shutting down. And what a shame, right? To be in a position where You can only go when you feel good. You can only keep going when things are going your way. Well, anybody can do that. It's when things are not going your way, can you still do it? And I get it. We all have our excuses. I'm tired all the time, AZ. I've tried everything. It's like, it's not an instant. It's not ask and it will be given to you immediately. It's the other version. You keep asking, no matter what. You keep seeking, no matter what. You keep knocking, no matter what. And this is where we just have to recalibrate. What is it that you're asking for this week? What is it that you're looking for this week? Are you even doing those things? And this is something that's a universal law. You keep that vision alive, and you keep doing the things that will put you in that realm of that vision, you will obtain it. It's like the law of gravity. It's going to happen. What goes up must come down. You seek, you ask, and you knock. It's going to happen. But it's not going to happen when you think it should happen. That's the only problem. And I want to go ahead and read what I wrote yesterday. And again, I want to thank you for joining me today. You could be doing so many other things today. You could be listening to the radio. You could be watching TikTok. You could be on Instagram, marketing. Or you can be here just to recalibrate and recommit from other people that are on the same path as you. And these are all choices. So this is what I put out yesterday. And, this is kind of in a place where I was at. Nervousness and anxiety come from what might happen and what could go wrong. I think we find ourselves there often, right? Maybe you're not as busy as you used to be. Maybe your phone is not ringing as much as it used to be. Maybe you just don't have the desire to go out there and do the things that you desired before. And it creates a sense of nervousness, and that nervousness creates anxiety. And then that anxiety creates thoughts of the things that might happen or might go wrong. The thought of one bad scenario unleashes a plethora of other things that will go south. I've learned that in order to offset these feelings, you must focus on the action, not the result. You must focus on the knocking, not when the door will open. Your job is just to keep knocking. I knocked 3 times. I followed up 3 times, AZ, and they just never called me back. I spent, the last 16 hours at an open house, got their people's contact information. They just never answered the phone. How many times did you call them? Well, once. Keep knocking, you keep calling. I've learned that to offset these feelings, you must focus on the action, not the result. You can't always control the results. However, you can control the action that puts you in the realm of the result. Win, lose, or draw, the action is the only thing you control. What actions will you take to put yourself in the realm of the results you desire? If you haven't been to the gym, you will be first thing in the morning, no matter what. If you haven't been eating the right foods or properly caring for yourself, it will begin tomorrow, no matter what. If you haven't attended Mindset Mastery, you will participate tomorrow, no matter what. I wrote this last night. If you've been short with your spouse and kids, you will show love, respect, and appreciation to them, no matter what. If you haven't completed your I am affirmations, you will do it every day to remind yourself what you're made of, no matter what. If you haven't posted 10 stories a day, you will dominate it every day this week, no matter what. If you haven't posted a video on social media, it will get done every day this week, no matter what. If you haven't been in your CRM for weeks, you will add 5 contacts every day, no matter what. If you haven't texted 5 of your past clients or sphere, it will get done no matter what. This is just the tip of the iceberg of the action you can take to dominate your week. Open your 12-week target book and get to work no matter what. And again, I can continue to say the same things over and over until my face is blue, and I will, because I'm in that space. I'm going to show up no matter what. If you're listening to me, no matter what. If you decide to come on this call, I will be here no matter what. And this is a trust that I have within myself that when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to continue to do it until I get the end result, no matter what. And it's not to better someone else. I just know what I have within me. And nothing that I've done is spectacular. I've just shown up every damn day, every day. Some days in a stronger position than others. Some days I'm happy. Some days I'm broken. But I'm here no matter what. And this is the expectation you should have for yourself. That you will be broken if you're seeking bigger things, greater things. But if you're being broken by the same things over and over and over, there's a problem with that. The same thing is getting you. The same thing is your demise. Being broken is when you're actually seeking something greater. Expect that. But if you're being broken by the same cycles, that's where the problem lies. So, if the year were to start today, if your new perspectives were to start today, just imagine where you'd be in a year, in 5 years. I feel like I'm Nostradamus. I have all these quotes that I put up back in 2013 and 2014 of who I will become, the life I would live. And I'll tell you, I was wrong. I couldn't describe the fulfillment that I actually have today. I was wrong in that. I said I wanted a strongly bonded marriage, a great connection with my kids, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. I didn't realize it goes many levels deeper. I said I wanted security and I wanted abundance. I didn't realize there was not only abundance, but prosperity from that. I said I wanted strength. I didn't realize I was going to be unstoppable. So yeah, I was wrong, but I was constantly seeking, and I didn't realize there was something greater for me. But I needed to be broken multiple times, and it happens every time I push the envelope. You will be broken. But your job is to keep asking, seeking, and knocking. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for you today. And again, remember, it's not just a one-time thing. It's multiple times. But I want to read some comments here. And again, I want to thank you for joining me. I really do. And again, just know that if you decide not to join, I'll still be here. And I'll have my arms out open just like this and say thank you for coming, regardless of how many times you showed up or not. But understand this community is based, and I believe it's the only community with a foundation for you to grow in all aspects of your life. Because I've said this once and I'll say it again, business is easy. It's the things outside of it that's a little bit more complicated. But if we attack those things, everything you want for your business will be a walk through the park. Being broken is to be forged like steel, broken and rebuilt. As we go through fire, God is using us to create something more purposeful. Absolutely. I didn't know I would be so connected to you. Like the people that I have here, I feel so blessed. I mean, you guys hold me to a higher standard. And having the right people around you, it's amazing. And sometimes, and I would actually encourage you to lean in more to what we have here. People on the same pathway as you. versus those that are outside of here. And I had to do that. I had to separate myself from family and friends to find myself and bring those that want the same things as I want, not just tied into, titles or labels of family and friends that I have to keep them around me forever. I don't. I keep the door open, but I'm moving a certain way. And, this past weekend, side note, I went to a family function, and I haven't been to a family function in years. And I got to tell you, I was nervous. I was a little nervous. And, but, because separating yourself is not always embraced. There's always people's expectations. But you got to find what's best for you first and foremost. And I got to tell you, it was really nice going back. I felt the love. I felt the respect. I felt the appreciation. And I, too, gave that love, respect, and appreciation. It wasn't an entitlement that I need to be at certain things. It wasn't like I was forced. I did it because I wanted to, and it felt great. But I had to make the decision to separate myself, regardless of the chatter, regardless of what people were saying or family was saying or friends, regardless of how bad my mom wanted me to go to certain things. I'm like, I need this for myself. I needed to find myself. I needed to find my voice. I needed to run with people that wanted the same things as I did. And now going back, there's no entitlement. I'm not being forced. And I enjoyed myself. You have to keep pushing for the opportunities to come, especially in a market like this, where you feel like you are not getting anywhere, but you won't get the opportunities if you don't keep doing the same things. Required to stay in the course. Sorry, chop that up, Jason, but that's so true. And this is coming from a veteran that's been in the game so long. Now more than ever, it's so important to stay the course. Now more than ever, it's going to require work. It's going to require your conviction. It's going to require the hard knock. And if you're here, you got to understand it's available to you too. You've seen it. You've seen so many of our own agents, where they started and where they're at. They stayed the course, and that's available to you too. No matter what, Isaiah, praying to be broken is a bold prayer. For me, it was followed by hurdle after hurdle. It forced me to become the individual that would be able to have a capacity I have now. Tonight, when the sun goes down, I asked for this. We did. And if you're here and you're facing the hard times, understand that what's on the other side is everything you asked for. But you can't complain right now. You can't ask for it to be easier. This is forcing you to grow. Understand that on the other side of whatever's going on right now is something greater. It's always been that way. And you're being broken because you want something bigger and better. If you didn't want to be broken, you should have stayed at your job. You should have just carried on your life as the way it was before. Understand that getting into a small business is only 7 to 8% of the population. It's a hard knock life. Don't forget that. Knock like you, the police. If you ski through trees and tell yourself, don't hit a tree, chances are you'll hit one. If you tell yourself, focus on the path, you will make a path through all the trees. That's it. And I'm going to encourage you, right, just to go through Monday, top to bottom, on the 12-week target book, regardless of when the last time you opened it. You might be in week 12, but only have week 2 documented. That's okay. Go through it. Begin again. And this is all engineered for you to just see what's next, not be stuck in the same place. And as you go down and you say your I am affirmations, as you put your prime 3 deposits down, as you send your appreciation text, as you accomplish the targets for the day, as you go through the workflow and the social media hustle and the social media prospecting and you journal your thoughts, you're going to be in a position where you can see what's next versus just wallowing in the same sorrow, wallowing in the same problems, wondering what you should do next. That only comes to light when you actually do things. to seek that answer. You can't stay in the same spot thinking that you're going to have the answer. Ask, seek, knock. Ask, seek, knock. Ask, seek, knock. All verbs, they require action on behalf first, right? Yeah, exactly. Action, ask. Seek, ask. Right? Actually, ask is action, seek is action, knock is action. Yes, I love it. We're all verbs. They require action on the first behalf. Ask is an action, seek is an action, knock is an action. I think a lot of times we think one or two knocks should get us the results. One or two times we seek should get us actions, and that's just not the case. It has to be repetitive. It has to be consuming. I mean, you may be knocking and asking and seeking, laying on the floor because, of exhaustion. But that's exactly where, you'll find your answers. That's exactly where you'll find your opportunities. And we all feel that pain. Like I said, I've been broken many times. And you've been broken many times. But somehow you ended up getting out. And if you don't enjoy the pain, the disappointments, as much as you enjoy the fruits of it all, then it's always going to be up and down. It's always going to be a disappointment. It's always going to be a roller coaster. The challenges you're facing are meant to forge you, like Isaiah said. They're meant to have you see something you're not seeing right now. So again, focus on the action. Let's see here. Ask, seek, knock. I already read that one. Well, I think that is it. Thank you again for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. Again, I'm going to highly encourage you to fill out the weekly targets and begin today with the daily targets on your 12-week target book. Those are the actions you must take to be able to see the answers to your efforts, okay, to see what's next. And maybe the result won't be until you see what's next many times over. But that's the path we all have to take. Ask, seek, knock. Let's get it done. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. I'll talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.